Evan, first and foremost, man, I've heard a lot of great things about you. I've read a lot of great things about you. And I'm very, very excited you're able to sit down across from me today, and I am grateful for your time today. I know you're a busy guy, family and stuff, so appreciate you being here, man.
I appreciate the invitation.
Right on.
When I got your invitation, I was super excited. When I talked to Mike about it,
Yeah.
my eyes lit up. So
Sick.
I'm big into this space and giving back. So I'm hoping that this reaches somebody and connects with somebody in some way, and
Awesome.
somebody improves because of something I said.
It's crazy to think that could be like, that's a possibility, eh?
It's weird.
It's weird, eh?
It's times we live in now, right? Where a
Yeah.
sound bite can travel to another continent,
Yeah.
and someone can hear something, and all of a sudden, it resonates.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. It's a
Cool.
lot of responsibility, but a good thing.
Yeah, man. But I think you're the guy for the job. So with that being said, we could dive into it. Give people some context about you a little bit. Take me through kind of your upbringing and like transition into like high school to life after high school and kind of that time frame.
Okay.
To how we got here.
So upbringing was pretty normal. Both my parents are actually into education. So my dad wasn't an elementary school principal for like 40 years. My mom was the assistant superintendent of the school district. So I had a very strong kind of educational background.
Nice.
Going my whole life. And then high school was a little different for me as well. My school was grades 7 through 12.
Interesting.
So it was like
Yeah.
life after elementary school was high school, right? It's one big school.
It's a big time frame.
But they split it up very well.
Yeah.
So 7, 8, 9 was at one campus, and then about 4 miles away, 10, 11, 12 was at a different campus.
Whoa. But a part of like the
Same school. Yeah, same
Huh.
same school. It was a private school. So I'd apply, get in, all that fun stuff. And it was 7 through 12. So 7, 8, 9 was one like school, and then 10, 11, 12 was the other school. They had a shuttle bus that went between the two if you needed your parents to live closer to one, not the other, pick you up.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, it was a little bit different, but it was an awesome experience. Changed my life and kind of set me off on the path I'm on now.
Interesting. Where so I'm curious. That's how the states do it, right? Because I was L.A. born and raised.
Yes, so I'm from L.A. Originally. Never, not to say I never went anywhere else, but I was schooled there for the most part. It's not typical. It's typical for independent schools. So it wasn't a public school in that the state and city ran it. It was a private school. So like I said, application, tuition, all that fun stuff. But it's pretty typical for independent schools to be bigger than just 4 grades.
Yeah.
9, 10, 11, 12. I guess typical high school. So yeah, it was interesting. It was awesome. I had, like I said, time in my life.
What's the difference between the private and public there at that time? Like, what is it? Obviously, like you said, right, the application and stuff, like when you're there, like curriculum and stuff, like what seems to be...
Nothing was real. I can't really compare because I didn't go right to a public school. But at the same time, like they still had standards, still had the same. It was a lot of ways a lot more rigorous. I would say, from my experience, it's one of the top high schools probably in the country in terms of academics.
Jeez.
I went to Harvard from high school.
Yeah.
And I was a recruited athlete, played basketball there.
Oh yeah, let's go.
And there were there's probably like 8 or 9 people that weren't. Right, they went to Harvard just because they're smart, and so that's probably atypical of a public school where you got 9, 10 people going to an Ivy League school, 30 going. You know what I mean? So that was a big difference. Tons more of like advanced placement courses, college counselors. Yeah, just different resources we had.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
interesting. So do you have a like looking back on it a bit? When did at what age did basketball kind of come into the play?
So I started playing. I was always tall. I was always bigger than everybody else. I started playing probably around 7 or 8. Yeah. My earliest memory of basketball, like on a team in a team setting, was at 10. And then I never really took it like, hey, this could be bigger than just an extracurricular. Mm-hmm. I had other extracurriculars, right? I played instruments. Was in jazz band, right? So it did other stuff. Right. And I never thought, okay, basketball is going to help define me as a way to say, okay, who's Evan now at 37? Oh, play basketball. I don't think a lot of people, that wasn't in my mindset, right?
Right.
It just, my love for the game grew as I kept playing. I think probably second year of high school, I was like, you know what, I can go to college and continue with basketball.
Oh, sick.
And then probably after my first year of college, I was like, hey, like, I can be a pro. I can make money playing basketball. So it kind of grew incrementally. I know you talk to some people, you know, like, oh, I knew when I was 6 I wanted to be in the NBA.
Yeah.
It wasn't my dream at all. It was, you know, I loved it. I loved the game.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, hey, basketball is me. It didn't define me growing up. And obviously it defines one facet of me now. I would say it doesn't define me fully now either.
Cool, yeah.
But it definitely obviously changed my life in terms of the trajectory.
Yeah, no kidding.
From the moment I, you know, picked up a ball to now. Like, I'm in
Yeah,
Sudbury.
it's ridiculous.
Like, we were just talking before this, right, about living in North Bay. These are things that I met my wife because of basketball. All this stuff happened because one day I picked up a ball and was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
Keep going with it.
Yeah, let's ride this thing out,
Yeah,
right?
just...
Whoa. Man, that's awesome. What was the recruiting process like for Harvard?
It was cool. So, my educational journey is crazy, right? So I did 7 to 12, and then I actually went to a boarding school for I don't know if you guys, were you raised in Ontario?
Yeah.
So you guys had that 13th grade?
I'm a little young.
Okay, so my wife had grade 13.
Okay.
And they have, I guess in Ontario, there was a 13th grade.
Yes. Yeah.
I did a similar thing in the States called a postgraduate year.
Right.
So I graduated from high school. And I did an extra year. I was young for my grade. I was 6'9", 180. So I was rail thin.
Yeah.
I had no business thinking about playing college basketball at that size. So part of it was go to this prep school, spend another year, get a little bit bigger, get a little bit stronger, get a little bit older. And from the moment, like having two parents in education, it was not really a choice. When Harvard calls, you're going.
Really?
It wasn't my dream school. I never knew they had a Division I program or anything like that. But my parents, rightfully so, were like, hey, like, you walk into a door and you say, I went to Harvard. People are like, really?
Huh.
And so that, I'm thankful to this day that they pushed me in that direction. And I'm still friends with tons of my teammates. Saw my coach last summer. So it's still a big part of my life to this day. Yeah.
Wow. That's really cool. From that like college time frame and playing ball, and then I want to jump to like how that transferred into being like playing around the world. But how did take us through kind of like in those college years, what was like a favorite, maybe not favorite game or favorite experience, but like a favorite memory from that time frame?
Okay.
If you can recall.
Yeah, huge. I have two. I said after my first year, I kind of was like, okay, I can make money playing basketball.
Nice.
In the summertime back in LA, I was very fortunate to train with Lamar Odom and Tyson Chandler. Two guys that made a lot of money playing basketball. And I wasn't like, oh, like I'm killing them in drills or anything like that, but I was okay.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, like if I work harder, I can see myself making a career of this thing.
Nice.
And I just fell in love that summer with the process of getting better.
Sick.
For me, even to this day, if you talk to people, talk to Mike, talk to any of my teammates, I'd hope that they'd say like Evan is a process-driven guy. I'm all about just getting better. Yeah. And that's where I can remember a distinct summer where that love kind of grew, or that seed was planted, I should say. Like, okay, there it is. Get better, get better, get better.
Cool.
So that stands out. And then my junior year, we had a new coach, and some crazy scheduling thing, we ended up playing the school that he had just left. So he came to Harvard, but he came from the University of Michigan, and we played the University of Michigan. And we beat them at home. It was It was on ESPN. It was the first Harvard televised game that I was lucky to be a part of. I played great. And that, for me, stands out. I still have the old school DVD at home, right? Like,
let's go. So
that was, those two things definitely stand out.
Man, that's awesome. So you said second year, you're like, I can make some money at this. What was that, as soon as you made that switch, or that seed was planted, where was the direction? Like, which direction did you aim the boat? And you're like, okay, I'm going to steer in to there?
But-
Like, was it, oh, I just got to like throw my name in as many hats as possible and see what bites?
Well, I think really at that time it was honestly just get better. I
Yeah.
didn't like at the same time, like, yes, I realized I could play basketball for a living, or I could, play, but it was like I got to get better to play. And part of it was that summer I gained 15 pounds.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Let's go.
I experienced, right? You do a ton of pull-ups, your back is sore the next day. Like,
Yeah.
I liked that feeling. I still like
sick.
that feeling. I chase that feeling now in the gym.
Nice.
It's harder to obtain, of course, but I liked that, and I chased it, and I liked
1%, bro.
exactly.
That's it.
I liked, like, working on a move in a workout
Yeah.
and seeing it work in practice. Working out in practice, seeing it work in a game. And so it wasn't necessarily pointing the boat as much as it was putting in the work to row the boat and seeing where the boat went.
Nice.
So I'm still that way to this day.
Yeah.
I just work and then let the results speak for themselves.
Interesting. So then, when you graduated, what'd you major in anyway?
Psychology.
Psychology?
Yeah.
Oh. So was that like an interest? You just had it originally?
My original major was economics, actually. It was
No
econ.
kidding.
Yeah, and then I realized very fast my freshman year, I'm not a numbers guy. I realized very fast that college coaches, whenever they call you when you're recruiting in high school, they say, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I'd always be like, "Oh, like I want to run my own business."
Yeah.
Okay, great answer.
Yeah.
Now as an adult, what does that mean, right? Like, what major
Yeah,
does
there's
that
a lot
mean?
to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's more to it. So I walk into college like, man, I want to run my own business.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Let me take economics, and it's a study of like whole economic systems.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this isn't for me. Like, I didn't realize until I was there that it wasn't for me. So then I was like, well, maybe government, maybe psychology. And then I went to psychology and absolutely loved it. By my fourth year, I absolutely loved it, especially like adolescent psychology.
Yeah.
We didn't have a thesis, but we had like a final paper on adolescent development. It was my favorite class. So I absolutely fell into the right major because I didn't like econ.
Yeah. No kidding. Jeez, when you were, like, what was something in that, like, from studying psychology that, like, you noticed that you might have not picked up otherwise? Like, you're like, huh.
How much brain development affects moods, affects choices. And the big thing that I kind of gravitated towards as well was like the role of education in development.
Right.
And then the role that outside factors play in education.
Yeah.
My parent, like, we're applying for schools for my son, and my parents kind of were saying the same thing. Like, your teachers are with you 8 hours a day,
Right.
7 hours a day. There's a lot more hours in that day that goes into, especially in adolescence.
Oh, yeah. The
Education, development and education. So what happens there? And so we started studying in sociology courses and some psychology courses, other factors, socioeconomic, family factors, other things that lead to success beyond GPA. Beyond GPA is an awful predictor of success.
Right.
There's so many other things that go into it.
There's something I was talking on the show with somebody a month ago or a couple weeks ago, and the whole idea of the conversation was how early we need to instill like self-awareness and like those tactics to help us with like the internal development and understanding how we approach problems, right? And I find a lot of criticism about the current curriculum nowadays is that, well, when am I going to use like the square root of like a parabola or parabola, right? Whatever they call it. But at the same time, I know I'm lucky enough to like know why they do it. It's like we don't need to learn that, but it's the way that your brain needs to operate to solve those problems.
Absolutely.
Transfers over. So it's like it's a weird catch-22, right?
It is.
So it's like there's no way it's going to apply, but the mechanisms and
the
tactics
skills you're using to answer it go a long way.
Which is, it's a tough disconnect because we're not told that. It's like, guys, it's the problem-solving element.
And that's the kind of the struggle we're having in general. I can speak about American education system at least. That's one of the big struggles that they're having with education in general is the idea of a progressive education where that is highlighted.
Right.
The thought process is highlighted versus the other one where you have a teacher in an inner city school with 35 kids. They're just worried about do you know the answer?
Yeah.
They don't care about like, hey, show me your work.
Right.
Like I remember going up to the board and writing out steps to find an answer.
Yeah.
And then you help problem solve, and the teacher's seeing, okay, Evan thought this led to this, led to this, led to the answer. When some teachers go, bam, answer, yes or no. It's binary, right?
Right.
Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Instead of, okay, great, you got 3 of the steps right, missed the 4th, it's 3/4 of a point. Or is it, that problem is all of a sudden worth 4 points instead of 1. So grading obviously is more difficult because it's easier to grade and say yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. But if you're checking all that work and you're looking at it from a bigger kind of viewpoint, you grade kids or students in a different way, and it builds that self-awareness in a different way as well.
Interesting. Now, do you feel, and I guess your kids are a little young, so they might not have gotten like deep into the education here, but because I'm really curious what it's like in terms of a comparison, because I think like at least with, and I don't want to generalize as much, but like the Canadian and the American education system, right, and seeing how it all is unfolding, because I know even Quebec and Ontario are different, just with I think years and like an extra grad year, but the thing I've noticed is we're always a bit behind in Canada, so whatever like the US does, generally we're like right there after. It's like being in Sudbury and then Toronto. So Toronto gets it first, and then it just kind of
trickles up.
So I don't know if it's quite like that.
I think it's not a problem. It's the way it's a struggle that Americans have in government. It's the country's too big. There are 50 states with the population we have. The problems in California, in Los Angeles, even the state of California, the problems in Los Angeles are very different than the problems in Napa Valley. The problems in Los Angeles are different than the problems in Biloxi, Mississippi. Right? Like when
just
you
counties of
bigger states. It's just so different. And it's the same with education systems.
Ridiculous.
Like you look at LA Unified School District, which is the public system in Los Angeles. Their issues are different than Beverly Hills School District. The resources are different.
Especially for private and public in both those areas, right?
Well, just both public. If you compare apples to apples and say public to public, in counties and cities where there's more wealth, there's automatically more resources.
Right, because they're funded, right?
Whether they're actually financial resources or those other resources we're talking about of outside the classroom resources. Parents that can help read to a kid before bed. Right. Where, okay, great. A different school, same apples to apples comparison of school districts. You have parents working 2 jobs and they can't invest.
No time,
they can want to, but you have some parents that can, some parents that can't. And that difference alone is impossible to quantify when you really look at it from one school district to another, or one. So it's hard to say, okay, the American school system, because there's so many variations of the American school system.
They're that different, eh? Even just county to county stuff.
It has to be, because you have so many non-financial factors. You can look at it and say, okay, great, we give every school X amount of dollars, but that's only that's so little of the conversation.
Is it? I know we didn't really zero in on like, oh, there's a problem with this. How do we solve for why? But I want to know almost, is there a solution to just create the right amount of resources, or is it just like a big audit of each district that we need to figure out, and then we can plan? Oh, they might need more financial, they might need more, even just financial or time to allow parents to be with kids more and help with development.
So that's how government works in a bigger picture, right? When you can take a look and say, okay, great, education is this much of it, but how much of it needs to go into affordable housing? How much of it needs to go into other things? So maybe that parent doesn't need that second job. Yes, you can look at it from education, but if you look at it as
there's more to
under the umbrella, there's other things that you can adjust that will help the education.
Interesting.
Literacy rates. Tons of things that you can help with a parent that will help their kid.
Yeah. Man, that's cool.
It's just entirely related ecosystem, right? Where if you tinker a little bit over here, this changes over here.
It affects this. And affect that. How can we affect the most change with the least amount of pulling teeth for resources? And man, that's fascinating. It's not a problem. I was trying to understand it and how you can tweak it and apply it, especially at a more minute level. But I think like you said, everything's pretty well different. X can affect Y, and apples to oranges. So man, it's interesting to understand,
It is.
dive into, but man,
a good one.
Yeah, there's looking kind of back now to like career wise, leaving college. What did that look like for you? What did that timeline look like?
Yeah. So
when was that? And
I left. I graduated a long time ago, right? It's 2020. I graduated in 2009.
Yeah.
So a long time ago, and I was very fortunate that 2 years ahead of me at Harvard, there was a guy who went and played pro.
Right.
So I reached out to him. I said, "Hey, what did you do?
Yeah.
Not give me the blueprint, but help steer me in a direction that can be helpful."
Nice.
And he got me in contact with kind of the person that he went and trained with. And it turned out that, the guy who he got me in contact with, we had some friends in common.
Oh,
so the trainer was in Vegas, but he happened to be from LA. His kids went to independent schools like me. So he knew of people that knew me, and we ended up, connecting.
Right on.
So that was awesome. So I moved out to Vegas for, at first, I think 6 weeks. I went out there for 6 weeks.
Nice.
And just trained.
Yeah.
And I did a few tryout camps. I had an agent at the time as well. My agent got me a job in top division Romania. So I went from America to Romania, which was
bit of a different.
a little different.
Where in Romania?
Craiova.
Oof.
Craiova.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was. I'd never heard of it.
No.
Until I went there.
That's how it goes.
Never heard of it until I went there. But it was awesome.
That's awesome.
Obviously, it's not what you would expect in terms of comfort of living and stuff like that. But at the same time, the people are amazing. The club was amazing. The team was amazing. Basketball was actually really, really big there.
Huh.
I was very fortunate to go there. And then from there, I just started off in Vegas. Started off with a conversation with someone who'd been through it before.
Huh. It's pretty smooth.
Yeah, I mean, it was one step to the next, and honestly, that connection in Vegas, Impact Basketball is the name of the place, and it's something that I've been going to. I told him after that first year, I was like, I love it here so much, I'm going to come back every summer.
Nice.
So I came back every summer up until COVID, and lived in Vegas. We'd go to LA, spend some time with my parents, and then just move to Vegas and train. And for me, that got me in the best shape and helped that love of the game even more.
Oh, that's sweet, just being around those people, like, really deep in it.
Oh, yeah. The guys and it was an NBA training facility, so some
nice.
of the guys that were there, really big names in the NBA, and people that to this day, like, I can reach out to if I need something.
Oh, that's
and
cool, man.
I was able to kind of connect with and see how they work. Oh,
Yeah.
great, this guy just signed a $30 million contract last night. I'm reading about it. He's in the gym the next morning at 7.
Yeah.
So I got to see that love for the game, and it helped grow my love for the game.
Right.
Because I'm not making $30 million, and I'm still working just as hard. Right.
Let's go.
I'm here with you. Like, I'm working with you at that point.
Man, that's cool. Jeez. It's, do you have anybody in that time frame of, it could be those players, or it could be like the coaches, that like stood out to you? You think had like the most impact, or was it that connect?
Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
Kyle Lowry.
Nice.
I don't know what he saw in me, but he'd be like, a guy like that can train with whoever he wants, right?
Right,
like, you're making that much money, you can do whatever you want, whenever you want. He'd be like, hey, Evan, let's get some shots up. Hey, Evan, we're going to go run this hill at 6 a.m. Come with us. He didn't have to, right? There's 40 other guys in the gym.
Yeah.
He didn't have to reach out to me and be like, hey, let's do this work.
Right.
I'd like to say he saw my work ethic and it helped him. I hope I helped him in some way. I can tell you wholeheartedly, he helped me a ton.
Yeah.
Right? And
man, that's awesome.
Yeah, so he definitely sticks out as that guy who was like, okay, Kyle's working. Yeah. I got to beat him.
6 a.m. hills.
It's crazy. You have to run that early because it's so hot. It gets to 110
desert, right?
at 10 a.m. It's 110 degrees. So at 6 a.m. it's 85.
Yeah. A bit less than that.
It's still hot, but
it's manageable. It's not great.
Yeah.
Oh man.
No, that's the only. I'd like to say that's the only reason we ran, but I don't know. I'm a morning person now.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Maybe that's why. Maybe it's the 6 a.m. hills.
I find too, man. There's something about training in the morning that gets rid of the stress of the rest of the day, and not just external stress, but the stress that I get where I'm like, man, I gotta get my training in. Like, as my day unfolds, okay, is it gonna happen here? Maybe I can squeeze it in after 7. No, I got this thing to do. okay, well maybe after it's nighttime and now it's 10 o'clock and I'm like,
Yep.
shit, I gotta go to bed.
Yeah, I do it. Yep.
Man, so there's something about the early rising that just makes it a lot easier to just, you almost get it over with, right?
Yeah.
Put it at the beginning of the day, but I find most of all, it sets the tone for kind of what to expect.
I find now, I have kids now, so it's a little different.
Yeah.
I have to get up because once they get up, all bets are off.
All
Like,
bets are off.
I gotta get something done while they're sleeping, or else it's not happening, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
But I found also, like, when I control my own training, which
Yeah.
I'm obviously retired now, so I control my own training, right?
Let's
I'm not
go,
training
yeah.
for a season. I'm training
Right.
because I feel like training.
Yeah.
I get done in the morning what I like the least.
Mm.
So growing up, I was always like, I was athletic, I was quick, but I was slow.
Okay.
So you can be quick but slow, right? I don't
Right.
run fast, but I have quick movements.
Right.
In a short, like, if you imagine, like, the coaches always tell you, like, oh, you're working in a phone booth. So in a phone booth, I'm quick,
Yeah.
but in a sprint, I'm not.
Right.
So I hate running.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. I cannot stand running. And now in the mornings, that's when I do my runs.
Let's go.
Because I know
Yeah.
if I'm like, hey, I'll leave it for 3 o'clock.
It's not happening.
If something goes on, like, if I'm not in the
Yeah.
right mental space at 2, I'm not running.
And there's a lot in that
Yeah,
time.
that can happen to put
that
you in the wrong mental
definitely
space.
affect you. Yeah.
So I do my run in the
awesome.
morning, and I love
Yeah.
lifting. So I'm like, all right, great, I'll lift at 4.
Perfect.
Because I know no matter what, it's therapeutic enough for me. So if I'm having an awful day, great, I'll work it out on weights.
Something to look forward to. Like
Yeah.
4 p.m.
Yeah, 4
Yeah.
p.m. So I'll do it in
Nice.
the afternoon. I do it at 5.
Yeah.
If no matter what happens in my day, that is a staple that I enjoy. But if I know I was like, oh, I'm gonna run after 5, no, I'm not. If something goes wrong, I'm not running. So I do the run, get it over with. I love it at the end.
Yeah.
Happy
Yeah, you
at
feel
the end.
great
Yeah,
after, but man.
in the moment, there's no way.
Running, running sucks.
It's awful.
Yeah, it's not great, dude. I ran, and I've ran, like, I could say that because, like, I've ran a marathon,
Oh, that's,
like the whole 42.2 in Ottawa, 35 degrees,
yeah.
gunned it, and yeah, started at 7 a.m. and went to like however long, a little longer than we would have liked, but
Work towards it.
yeah, man, like we got through it, but it was ridiculous. So after that, I was like, you know what, if we don't ever run again.
You're good.
Yeah,
You're good.
Listen, I'm like, we've capped it. We're like doing ultra. I am doing nothing.
no
man.
way.
Do a half marathon. I'm not gonna do a half of nothing. Half of nothing. Half your burger. No, dude, no chance. We're doing a full one. We're getting it over with. And then I'm like, leading up to that, that was the running. Running sucks is what I'm trying to agree with you. That's
I'm still like, I'm not there yet where I can run like on my own.
Yeah.
It's like, so I have a Peloton tread. So I
Nice.
do the classes. I can only do a
sick.
guided class where someone's like, hey,
Yeah.
put the speed up to 6.
You need that accountability,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it's
Put
tough.
the speed up to 10, put the incline to this. And I like that you can compete, right? So, like, I get a score, whatever their proprietary algorithm is, right? Like, it puts together your incline and your speed and gives you a score, and there are other people in the class. So I'm like, yo, I'm beating you right now.
Let's go.
I don't know what you are. You could be a 40-year-old middle-aged wife. You could be a 70-year-old just walking for fitness, but I'm beating you.
Let's go.
And that, at least now that I'm not playing basketball competitively, like, keeps me going
Still
in
need
terms
that.
of, like, I'm going to beat you today.
Yeah. Nice.
Like, so I can't just be like, oh, I'm going to go run outside. I need someone to guide me and tell me, like, hey, put the speed to this. Put the,
Right on,
put the incline to this. 40,000 people to take a class, you can see where you stack up. And
fair.
you don't, normally I would have assumed you'd see that at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But it's cool that you can see it progressively.
Right.
So second to second, you can see where every single person of those 40,000, where they were, what their point total was,
where
what their
you
speed
stack
was,
up.
and where I am. Okay, great. I'm in my
let's
goal, because I'd like to say I'm in better shape than the average human.
I say so, yeah.
My goal is to always stay in the top 10%. So
Nice.
40,000 people take it, I need to be 4,000 or higher.
Yeah.
And so you can keep an eye on it. There's a live number that goes up and down. So I'm like, oh, shoot, I'm at 5,000. Let me crank the speed up a little bit. Instructor said 4 to 7 miles per hour. I'm at 7.5. Just to make sure.
I can't let
I don't even care. I don't even listen to the
can't let
instructor
these
sometimes. Like,
lemmings, these lemmings get ahead of me. I'm a professional athlete.
oh,
They,
my.
dude, yeah. Get better, eh? Jeez. That's cool. That's cool that you do that. There's kind of circling back to basketball and Romania. How long you how much time you spend there?
So I stayed there until December. Season was in September.
Yeah.
So I was there 3 months, 4 months. I left my contract early. Wasn't necessarily getting paid on time. If you talk to a lot of people that happened to play in Eastern
Dwayne
Europe,
said the same thing.
wasn't necessarily getting paid on time.
Like the exact same thing.
So I left. But then I was very fortunate to land. I was in LA for about 3-4 weeks. And then I landed with a team in Germany. That was a lot more professional in terms of payment, car, apartment. Everything was top notch. And honestly, being in Germany set the stage for the rest of my career.
Nice.
I'm sure Romania helped a lot, but
Yeah.
being in Germany kind of set that stage.
It's just the bar of professionalism.
And Germany is a huge basketball country.
Really?
Most of Western Europe, so Spain, France, Germany.
I guess so.
Are huge basketball countries. Germany has Bayern Munich, Alba Berlin, some of the best teams in Europe. And playing there, I got to see and understand the whole landscape. There's 7 leagues that allow Americans. Here, right, there's the Sudbury 5, and that's it. But there's Alba Berlin, Bayern Munich are in the top league. There's a second league. There's a third league, all the way down. And all the top, 6 or 7 leagues all allow Americans in the league.
Wow.
So I started off and worked my way up and got to...
So where were you based in? Germany, in Berlin, Frankfurt?
In Wolfenbüttel.
Oh, okay.
It is in pretty much right in the center of the country.
Okay.
So that was my first year.
Yeah.
Was in Wolfenbüttel, and then from there, take you down the basketball journey I had.
Let's go.
Call myself a basketball vagabond.
Let's
I started off, so I went Romania to Germany,
Yeah.
and then I went Germany to Portugal.
Right on.
So I played.
How was Portugal?
It was awesome. That's actually where I met my wife.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
No way. Was she on vacation or?
She was just teaching English. She's Portuguese Canadian, and she just was happy to be living in Portugal teaching English. And I was like, oh, this lady looks nice. And then she speaks English. And then she's like, "Oh, I'm from this."
Checks my boxes.
I'm from this small city in Ontario called North Bay. It's like, "Oh, I've never heard of that." And she's like, "Oh, it's really cold."
You're like, "I'm out."
So here we
Portugal's not though. So.
No, it was awesome. So then
that's hilarious.
Played in Portugal, and then I went back to Germany for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 years.
No way.
And then I went to France for a year. Then went back to Germany for another year. Then went to Japan. Then I went to Norway for 3 years. And then COVID happened. And because of COVID, luckily at the time, I became a Canadian permanent resident, so I could come here.
Yeah.
We were married already, so I was like, you know what, my wife couldn't come to America. I can come to Canada. Let me just be in Canada.
Yeah.
So I was in Canada for all those lockdowns and everything. Was that 2 years?
Gross, yeah.
A year and a half, 18 months?
2 years too long. But anyways.
So I was here for that, and then things worked out, and spoke with Logan and just said, hey, there's a team an hour and a half away in Sudbury.
Yeah.
And I came here, loved it, and been here ever since.
Wow. Man, that's awesome. Did you, if you had to compare Japan, you were in Japan for a season?
The whole season. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Japan to Europe. Which would you recommend to somebody to play ball and then just to visit?
Okay, to visit for sure, Japan.
Yeah.
Not even. It's
crazy.
Yeah, and my team was 40 minutes outside of Tokyo, so I could go to Tokyo whenever, an off day, just go to Tokyo. Take the subway was right outside my door.
Go for dinner.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Go there and come back. So that was
cool.
That was awesome. It was something that I definitely am thankful for. It's something I never would have done without basketball.
Yeah. No kidding. Wow.
I would say though also Germany is amazing. I'm fond of it. I was there for 4 years, so I definitely have an affinity for Germany. But there's so much. The thing I'd say is if you like history, go to Europe.
Europe, yeah.
Because their buildings from the 1500s.
Yeah.
Buildings were
castles.
Yeah, they're things that are
everywhere.
old.
Yeah.
I'm from LA. Anything
brand new
made after the 40s is demolished. And now that it's 2024, anything made after the 60s is demolished. So
no kidding, eh?
I didn't really ever get to see history. I got to go to a concentration camp. I got to see where the Bible was first translated into English. I got to see these places for real that I read in textbooks that I read about.
Man, which was your what was it? So I want to tell you something, then I want to ask what your favorite part of Europe in terms of places you went there. But
sure.
we'll get there in a sec. When I was so what I did when I graduated college, I think it's 2018. Yeah, man, that's a while ago.
Nice.
Dating myself now, jeez. But I met a friend of mine. My buddy had just climbed the Alps, and I met him I flew into Amsterdam. I made my way from Amsterdam to Frankfurt. My friend, I stayed with her 2 hours north of Frankfurt. My buddy met me from Paris, rented a car, and we spent 6 weeks going.
That's awesome.
Like this,
Just
all the
around.
way down to Romania.
That's
down
awesome.
all the way to Serbia, Bosnia, Croatia, up, down, around, back to Spain, to Italy, Spain, Andorra, France, all the way up back.
Nice.
Yeah, so the whole loop-de-loop, complete the circle. And I remember I think it was Germany. No, I don't know if it was Germany or I'm missing it. But yeah, anyways, looking back on all the things what we would do while we were driving there was we would listen to like this podcast called Hardcore History by Dan Carlin, right? And it's like 5.5 hours, part 1 of 4 podcast, where he breaks down like World War history and like to the second, right? Like decisions that were made before even pulled triggers and everything. And so going through these places and hearing what happened in like the Balkans and hearing about what happened in Eastern Europe and through like the 40s or the late 30s, early 40s in the 1900s, and looking at how all that transpired, and then driving through Bosnia and seeing bullet holes like all throughout buildings. Like, this is crazy. Yeah. So to your point, it's like hearing it and then learning about it and seeing it firsthand is just, oh, this is crazy.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine if you weren't there, and then kind of
sure.
seeing like, you know, a job site once it's done, and you're like, oh, yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah,
This is cool.
It's really nothing like at least North Americans can really fathom, because our countries are so new.
100%.
Countries were founded in the 1800s.
Yeah.
These places,
Ridiculous.
what? Like,
Yeah.
places have been there for literally thousands of years.
There are castles from like 1300s. I'm like, what is going on here, man?
It's
wild. Nothing will compare.
No,
like
dude.
landscape and stuff like that. Do you have a like a favorite place you visited while you were out there? Like memory from that time that you reckon?
I would say probably the castle where the Bible was translated into English. Like, I'm taller. I have 6'9", so the doors were coming up to like my chest. People were a little bit shorter back then, so that was crazy to see. I'd say that one. And that was when I was playing in Gotha in central Germany, a little bit more east, so it's actually former East Germany. Yeah. So even, I don't know if you were able to see it, if you go East Germany to West Germany, the buildings are different.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
And so like I got to experience 1 year of playing in the former East Germany and kind of seeing how different it is. It's really interesting just talking to like German people as well that were, you know, around in the 60s and the 70s and before the wall came down. Like, that stuff is very interesting to me.
Jeez, I think my mom visited Germany before the wall came down.
Yeah.
And like when it was East and West, like you said, and it was just show me photo stuff. I'm like, geez, this looks nothing. And they do have a part of like the section of the wall that we did visit, but I'm like, man, but just to see on the map how far it's laid out and how far it goes, you're like. Yeah. You're looking at it kind of freaked out. I'm like, oh, this is huge. This is ridiculous. This separate. What?
My wife and I became very close with like a German family while we were there. And they'd invite us over for, you know, Sunday dinners every Sunday. Yeah. It was awesome. And the team I played for 2 years, they're huge supporters of that team. And amazing. The father was in his probably 60s. And he used to be a professional volleyball player.
Oh, no kidding.
And he had his old, like, West German passport that he had to show to play within Germany.
Stop.
And he showed it to me. It was really cool to see. And, like, just talk about history and stuff like that. Like, to think that you need a passport within your own country. Yeah. Like,
that's crazy. Yeah. Man, that's super cool. So when you moved back for COVID and you moved to North Bay and then, like, you moved to North Bay with the plan of looking for... like work around here and playing, or
I was still gonna play. I had no idea what was next, like everyone else, right? Like, we're like, okay, like is this gonna? So this was what made it even crazier. So my son was born in January in Norway. So season was going on. My wife was pregnant. We knew that he was gonna be born.
That's cool.
We knew that, like, so we had appointments in Norway to get her ready. Saw the hospital, everything. So he was born in January in Norway. kind of everything went to hell in high water in like March, April, right? So our season got canceled like everything else, and we were literally on the last flight out of Norway before the airports even shut down. So we were on the last flight out of Norway. They were like, hey, let's just go to Toronto. So we got to Canada. We had to, the whole thing at the border, where they're like, hey, like, don't stop anywhere, like, just go.
Yeah.
We had a 3-month-old baby. So at the time, right, I was like, okay, it's going to be over by summertime.
That was the hope, yeah.
Next year is going to be normal for basketball because basketball seasons typically run September to May.
Right.
So I was like, okay, great. Like, okay, it just stinks that, my season got cut off in March. I'll start up again in September when the season starts again.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And so I was training the whole time. I was super lucky when I was in Norway. I was like on Amazon.ca, bought a weight rack, bought like all this stuff before the inflation when people were building home gyms.
Perfect.
So I was like, okay, great. Like I have a weight room. Yeah.
That's why I built mine.
I have a weight room in my house, so I'm good to go now. So had that set, and I was just training to go back. Yeah. Right. I had contact with the team I was on. It was already my second year with them. I was going to go for a third.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, great. And then I got a call like, hey, we're not having the season. Because everything stopped for longer than those 4 months. Yeah. And then so that whole next season was canceled. And then I spoke with Logan, and he was like, hey, like, there's this team here. Why don't you come out and do some kids camps? And we don't know what's going on with their season. So I said, okay, great. Came out, did a few kids camps. No season. So it was like 2 years where there's no basketball here. Luckily, at the time, I had been working as director of education for a private career college.
Oh, cool.
So I've been, even a little bit before that, while we were in Norway, I was helping out, and I got to kind of go into a full-time capacity there. It was remote, so I could work from home.
Yeah. Where's it based out of? Like where's
North Bay.
North Bay. Oh, it is. Okay, perfect.
So
that's cool.
It wasn't too crazy, but I got to do that, use my brain a little bit too, and then at the same time train and hope for a new season. New season never came. Second year still didn't come.
Yeah.
And then from there, Logan said, "Hey, like, there's gonna be a season now."
Yes.
Great. So we made the little drive down Highway 17, and here I am.
Oh, that's perfect. Would you, when the season was started, would you go back and forth?
No. We always, we rented a house here. Yeah, so we were at this point, we've rented 3 different houses in Sudbury. Yeah. 3 different parts of the city, which is cool too. But yeah, especially with the child, there's no way I was going to be 2 practices a day. If I want to go lift, if I want to get treatment, there's just too much as a pro that you have to put into it to justify an hour-and-a-half drive each way.
Makes sense. Yeah, it's 3 hours out of your day to.
Yeah, just in travel, and you have 2 practices a day. 6 hours.
Like, and you go home in the day. Yeah. Wife's working. Like, wouldn't make sense. Interesting. Do you? So, what is something that you learned having kids that you don't think you would have learned otherwise, or you didn't like big thing that they taught you so far? Because they were young.
Ooh, yeah. So taught me. That's a good one. First thing that came to mind was patience, but I think I would have learned it somehow, somewhere. Right? I think appreciating the small things, appreciating the moments.
Interesting.
We're my wife and I are one of those families that share Instagram reels, right? Like, keep sending reels back and forth. And a lot of them, I saw one the other day, it was like just about like stopping what you're doing and recognizing the time you have with your kids. So I'm making a conscious effort to put my phone down, to turn the TV off. Yeah. Like, and I'm starting to see that they love that time with me. It was weird. Today's Friday, so we lost last Friday. Season ended last Friday. And I was talking with my son, and he was like, "I'm happy you lost." I'm like, "Why?" "I'm not happy you lost." Like, what's up?
That's awesome.
And he was like,
straight to it.
He was like, "So you don't have to go away anymore." Because we were gone. I was gone like every other day. Pretty much, like, especially when the playoffs started, we had 1-1-1-1.
Yeah, I was like, dude, why don't you do 3 here, 3 there? No, it's lose, go
1-1-1-1. So we were like, practice in Sudbury on a Saturday, leave Saturday, play Sunday in London, leave Sunday night, practice Monday in Sudbury, play Tuesday in Sudbury, leave Wednesday to go to London, play Thursday. Yeah. So like that was very tough on my family, and so appreciating that time that I have with them, even if I was going to continue playing after this year, like, stopping right now to give more family time, I think, is what I learned, is how important that time is and how much it means to them.
Nice. So, not saying that you take things for granted, or I understand, from what I understand, having talked to people in the space, we'll say, the culture around professional athletes, it being a rather, for lack of maybe a better word, entitled.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And you can correct me or whatever, agree or disagree, whatever you feel. But I'm curious if you noticed anything change from you in terms of like what you've seen, that maybe now that you have a family and you're kind of like, as you grow up and as you like retire, looking back on it, where you're like, ooh, like I'm happy I'm maybe not a part of a certain culture, or I'm happy I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm trying to find like a nice way of
I kind of get what
trying to
you're saying,
figure out-
but at the
figure that
same,
out.
like, I don't know, right? I just go off of what people tell me in
Right.
terms of, but from what I'm hearing,
That's good.
I'm very atypical from a what you would expect from a basketball
Yeah.
player, from a professional athlete. Not to, I think we had an amazing group here this year.
Yeah.
We had guys, like, one thing that I really value is stopping to talk to every single fan, every single person that stops and wants to talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a group this year that embraced that role as well. I've been on
Amazing.
teams where some guys don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm wondering.
and
yeah.
so it means a lot to me because I can only imagine what that. First of all, like, that's who I am as a person innately, but
Yeah.
I can now as kids. I can imagine if my son wanted to go talk to someone,
Yeah.
and that person didn't give them the time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'd be furious.
So like
yeah.
I see that side of it, and so I have that extra layer of it. But I think for me that's always been there anyway.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's like, yeah, you've heard of the other end of it in the extreme case, but that wasn't your experience
No.
here and stuff.
And
that's not how you
I
are.
picture
anyway,
it
so.
like, obviously it's a smaller scale, but people pay money, literal money, which is time, right? Like, you work time to earn money.
Yeah.
So you go to work, you spend your hour, you make X amount of dollars per hour.
Mm-hmm.
You take 2 of those hours, you spend it on a Sudbury 5 ticket.
Mm,
So someone took their time and their money and said, I want to go to this.
right.
The least I can do for someone who walks in for free and puts the ball in a basket is be thankful that they're there.
Yeah.
In terms of communicating with them, in terms of
Right.
interacting, in terms of making that 2 hours or however whatever they work for worth it to them to come back. Because if they don't come back, I don't get paid.
Right.
That's how basketball works, right? Like, obviously you do get paid. You have a contract, but over time, I've seen teams fold in Europe because they don't have enough attendance, because they lose sponsors.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. Like, you have a bad season, you have a bad group of guys, all of a sudden a sponsor's like, I don't want to be behind this. And they pull out. Next year there's no team. So it works. It's bigger than just the individual.
Right.
And it's bigger, like, we serve a greater purpose than that. Than just
Man, that's cool.
putting a ball in a basket. Like,
Yeah.
whatever I'm going through in that day, like, sure, it's important to me, but these people's time is important to them.
Mm-hmm.
1,000, 2,000, however many fans we have, that's important to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Work for a couple hours to, just have my kid be disrespected in front of me. Yeah, I'd be a little.
Be very bad.
Yeah, I'd be like, no. So that's cool that, like, that wasn't the experience here. Like, that's awesome.
No, not at all. We
That's
had
awesome.
a great group of guys that would go to schools and talk to kids, go to youth centers. I got to go to Ryan Heights Youth Center here in Sudbury, which is awesome.
Yeah, crazy.
You get to see those kids, get to interact with them, and some follow me on Instagram now. So that stuff like that is awesome to see and awesome to be a part of, because, like I said, if I can help one person, then great.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome, for sure. There's kind of looking towards the season not ending, or I guess in this case, career not ending. Perhaps going out with the championship would have been best case scenario, obviously. But
who does that?
Yeah.
Looking back, like, how many people in the history of basketball have retired as a champion?
Yeah, on top. I don't know. Man, I'm trying to think too. I don't know. But with that being said, do you what was the thought process like in terms of, like, retiring from basketball?
Yeah. It's a tough one. It was a lot of conversation with my wife,
Yeah.
even if I was going to play this year.
No kidding.
So this year was not for sure.
Hmm.
I remember last year we lost the same thing in the playoffs at home, and I was just looking down at the floor. I was like, I don't know if this can be it for me.
Yeah.
And then I spoke with Logan probably 2 weeks later, and he was like, I could tell by the look in your eyes you're coming back. And sure enough, here I am. But for this year, it was time. Like, my son is going to be starting school. My daughter's going to be going to daycare. I don't want to not be there. I couldn't imagine. For me, it's a non-negotiable to be like, okay, you're going to school here, and I'm not going to be there.
Right.
I want to be doing carpool drop. I got more excited for carpool drop-offs, right? Like, I had a very good veteran my first year when I was in Germany. So that second half of that first year.
Nice.
And there's actually a female, and she said, like, she was older, she was 35, 36, that she was going to play until she found something better to do, something else that excited her more.
Whoa.
And I kept that in my head.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah. You're going to play until something else excites you more. Basketball, I love. I still love the process.
Right.
I'm getting excited now to help my son with homework.
Yes.
I'm getting excited for other things that I don't want to miss now because of basketball. And so that's when I was at 37, right? I could have stopped 4 years ago. I don't need to be playing. I'm playing because I like it.
Yeah.
Playing because I love the game.
That's a crazy privilege, eh?
Yeah, it is. I'm absolutely. I'm blessed, and I'm playing it because I want to, because I love the game.
Yeah.
And I think I'm inching towards that point where I'm excited for something else, and I don't want to ever kind of be half in, half out.
No, of course not.
I want to be,
especially with parenting in your career.
Yeah,
it's a tough.
And that's just not the kind of player I am. The kind of person I am to just have one foot out the door, be thinking about something else. Like, and you can. My wife always tells me how grumpy I am during the season. Yeah. And I've been listening to the JJ Redick and LeBron podcast about kind of how they are, and I was like, man, this is me. Like, I needed this 5 years ago. Yeah. Like, I will sit at dinner during the season and just not be there. Like, we could be talking like this, and I'm thinking about what happened in practice, how we can do better, a defensive coverage. And I was like, you know what, it's getting to the point where it's also not fair to my family that I'm like,
it's like you're there, but you're
not. Yeah, I'm physically here, I'm sitting here, but I can't really give it.
Not really present.
Yeah, give it what I want to.
Especially at those ages too, right? Like preschool and school, it's monumentous.
No, there's too much other stuff going on. And I was very fortunate that I had this opportunity to come back and play this year. I absolutely loved it, and I'm gonna miss it. I'm not gonna say, I'm ready to walk away. Like, I'm definitely gonna miss basketball, but I'm excited for the next chapter as well.
Nice. Is the vision to, like, continuing on doing the head of, like, the curriculum work and stuff like that for the schools?
So I'm still doing that. Yeah. I'm taking on a little bit more responsibility, which is awesome. Yeah. I never knew that I'd be in adult education, but I think it's very, very rewarding for me in a different way. I didn't know that these things existed when I was living in America. My wife worked for this company. Hey, I think you'd be great here. Awesome. Okay. Let me see how I can fit.
Man, that's cool.
And so it does. It's a good intersection for me.
Yeah.
I do want to. At first, I said I'd never coach. I said I'd never coach. everyone I talk to would be like, "Oh, there's no way I'd ever coach." And I'm getting the itch a little bit to give back in some ways. Yeah. And I was talking to my wife yesterday about it. Actually, it's like I have 15 years of professional experience. Anyone else who had 15 years of professional experience in a job, and then just one day was like, "Now I'm done," to be looked at like you're crazy. A little bit, If you work at a bank for 15 years at a high level, and you're like, one day you're like, I'm out of finance. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. You have a lot of wealth of knowledge that you can give. I'm viewing basketball in the same way. Yeah. Right? Like, I was lucky to play at Division I school for 4 years, 15 years as a pro. That's almost 20 years of knowledge. That's a doctorate, right? Like a doctorate in basketball. That's crazy. I don't think it's fair to then just be like, stop. Right. Like, so there has to be some involvement, some giving back, because I do have I think a lot of knowledge that I can share.
It wouldn't be a pro team though. Like, wouldn't be like a Logan for North Bay.
No.
Type deal.
No, because we're going to LA. So no.
Yeah.
You never know. I wish if we were here, I think I'd actually love coaching with the 5 if they'd allow me to.
Cool.
I don't. I don't. We're not going to be in Sudbury, so I don't think that's an option. But if so, I think that would have been awesome. I could see definitely where I could help.
And it'll be remote from LA.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, so
amazing.
It's not bad at all. Still do that, and like I said, I'm actually very excited for some growth in my role there as well.
Yeah, and you got your folks there too, and the
exactly.
Kids and,
amazing. Everything. It couldn't be any better.
Yeah.
Except just need a bigger home gym.
Yeah.
Home gym's up here. I gotta get a bigger one down there.
Yeah, man. That was the whole reason. Actually, as soon as I got the garage moved out, it was right before COVID kind of became real aggressive, and then I ended up just talking it into existence. Corny word, manifesting it, right? But I remember being on a job site doing flooring, and this guy was like, "Hey, do you know anybody who wants like a half squat rack?" He's like, "I run now," and we're like, "Great," and he's like, I don't lift weights anymore. I just run," and I'm like, let's go. It was like $200. I was like, "Start the car, dude." And then it's like, other people just started feeding into it. They're like, "I'll give you this, I'll give you this for this. I'll give you." I'm like, "Yeah, let's go."
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was once you get the garage, and I was like, I'll piece this together. And then, move or not, I'm taking it. I'm like, set it up wherever.
For sure.
Hopefully still inside. I wouldn't set it up outside, but yeah.
Some pretty awesome outdoor gyms in LA.
I go down the rabbit hole bad on YouTube. Just I'm like, how are we designing this, Evan? Like, what are we looking at? I was like, man, can we fold it up? You can fold them up now. And I see people that have their gym on like the wall, and then the other side is like a horse staple. And I'm like, what are we? I'm like, your horses mixed in. I'm like, all right, cool, man.
All right, if it works for you, it works.
Like it's cool to see because everything's unique to, like you said, like to that person. So I kind of I appreciate it a little bit, and seeing different spots, like different like strongmen who live in other places, and then like ultra athletes who have like their sauna and their ice bath in their garage gym. That's just all interior brick. I'm like, yeah, this is crazy.
So during COVID, I was nuts. I was nuts. My wife was like, so we have a 2-car garage.
Yeah.
No cars are in there anymore.
Hell yeah.
I'm like, all right, squat rack, safety squat bar, trap bar. So I was one of those guys. I was like, let me find a do-it-yourself ice bath. So my mother-in-law was like, hey, I have an old chest freezer. It's like, awesome.
Stop.
Let me go get a ton of JB water weld from Home Depot. And I'm sitting there with like putting water weld on my finger, like lining the whole thing.
Just smearing it all over, right?
Sealed the whole thing.
That's awesome.
Put some hose water in there. Yeah. Put a little timer on the outlet so it doesn't turn to ice.
Yeah.
Good to go.
That's awesome.
Just jump in. Good to go. I have to dump the water because
it gets
completely unfiltered. It's filthy.
You see mine. It's not great. Yeah, it gets bad.
But it's cold.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's the best way to do it. I've never met anybody other than you now who's done the chest freezer.
But it was like an old school chest freezer. So like the ones now are a little bit harder. Like it was like metal inside. Like it's a probably 40-year-old chest freezer, which is awesome. It's like a tank.
Yeah, it's huge.
So it's
bulletproof.
Perfect. Yeah, it's awesome. It's been working out 3 years. I just dump the water once a month. Yeah. It's like I got a little rubber ducky through it. Yeah.
Rubber ducky, got the thermometer on it. And you're like, how cold did we get it?
I got the little,
that's awesome.
The little infrared thermometer. I can stand back and point it at it.
Let's go. And that's awesome. Yeah. There was I think the worst we were doing was we did New Year's this year. A bunch of us, I think like 11 of us, cut like a triangle out in the ice.
Oh wow!
And just like sat in it. We don't just jump and come out.
Yeah.
We'll sit there like I think we did 5 minutes like that. Shoulders.
Oh man. Yeah.
It's brutal, man. I spent 2.5 hours drinking hot black coffee and trying to warm up. And
I'm sure
my teeth were just like,
chattering.
Real bad, man. But kind of like. Moving into past the decision to retire and stuff like that, as we kind of conclude, there's a couple things I'm curious. I've been listening to a couple different podcasts and things, and I want to take one of the last questions that they ask. They usually ask for 3 books, 2 people, 1. It could be quote or lesson. I like the idea of lesson. So I'm curious if you have 3 books, 2 people, 1. one lesson before, and then I'll ask get into the final question. We can kind of wrap it up.
So 3 books that I'd recommend, or 3 books that are
Yeah,
kinda shaped.
impactful to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Atomic Habits.
Nice. James Clear.
Atomic Habits.
Sick.
What's it called? It's a trilogy of books. Gotta pull up
Yeah, no worries.
my Apple books. I know I read
listen,
them.
do you listen or do you
I read them?
Yeah. Nice. I find there's a certain skill that comes with the ability to be attentive to what you're reading
for
physically
sure.
versus like just listening to it while you're going to pick up gas.
Discipline is destiny, and courage is calling. And I'll put in, because it's a Stoic virtue series.
Yeah.
The obstacle is the way.
Oh, sick.
All by Ryan Holiday.
Yeah.
But those are my, I guess now 4.
Amazing. Man, that's cool. And then 2 people.
I'll group my parents as one person.
Amazing.
And my wife and my family. I'll put family.
Yeah.
So
Sick.
parents, and then so when I was younger, parents, and then now my immediate family, wife and 2 kids.
Nice, amazing. And then do you have one? We'll wrap up with this. Do you have one kind of overarching message, lesson, experience thing you want to share to kind of round out what we've talked about and what you're hoping to get out?
I would say it's not really this is corny. It's a mantra, right? Like,
let's go.
We're talking about home gyms. I'm obsessed with them, right?
Same.
I want to build a Sorenex home gym.
Yeah.
And part of Sorenex is you can custom write something on the stringer.
Yeah.
I was thinking today, like, yo, what would I write on mine?
Sick.
What's something that will that is
awesome.
unique to me that I like? And I always now realize I post randomly a lot of like sweaty shirt pictures on Instagram.
Yeah. Phenomenal.
And I always, like, sometimes I'll write hard work wins.
Yes.
And that's what I think I want to, that sticks with me, is hard work always wins out in the end. You don't know when it'll win out, but hard work wins. I'll go with that as my lesson.
Let's go. Awesome, man. So, Evan, I'm really happy you're able to make time for the conversation today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, of course. I appreciate getting to know you, and I look forward to the feedback and hearing what everybody thinks of it. And yeah, man, I really appreciate it, brother. I wish you nothing but the best in what your the next phase of your life, career, and the things you're excited about, man. So I wish you nothing but the best. So
Awesome.
appreciate your
Thank
time,
you.
man.
Thanks for having me.
Right on.
All right.